Hi, my name is Xendara Hayes. I am a volunteer with Whispering Willow Wild Care, which is an education group in Albany County, Rensselaer, Schenectady, that type of area. Um, I am a wildlife rehabilitator in my own right. I've got my own license, and we also do education programs. Today I'm here to talk about red-tailed hawks. They're very common. Pretty much everybody has seen one. You see that classic red tail flying around, you know what you've got. But this video is to give you a little more information about the species in general. Um, Not just identifying them, which if they got that red tail is pretty easy. Um, but here's something that not everybody knows. They don't get their red tail until they turn 2 years old. That's when they hit sexual maturity, and that's when the red tail comes in. Before they turn 2, their tail is this dark color like on her wing. They would be full size though. Birds grow very quickly. So they would be full size, but they would lack the red tail. Another way to tell them apart though is this belly band right here. They all have that. They're not always as red in the chest. She's very red for a red tail, but they've all got that belly band, and after 2 years old, they've all got that red tail. They are very, very common. I'm sure everybody's seen them. You can find them pretty much anywhere in the United States except Hawaii. You can find them in Canada, Mexico, all the way down into part of Central America. You can find them in most habitats, not all. You're not going to find them in the tundra, maybe so much. Forested areas, especially heavier forested, no, but they're more open birds, like prairies, grasslands, farms. A lot of people find them on the sides of roads. You're driving down the thruway and hey, look, red tail, red tail, red tail. They're everywhere. There's a reason for that, and I get asked that a lot. Why are they always by the roads? Well, think about it. The road itself, obviously, it's bare, other than the cars, of course. And on either side of the road, they usually mow. Well, squirrel, mouse, rat, whatever's down there, they've got a clear shot at being able to see it. The problem with that, obviously, is the cars, right? They don't necessarily realize how fast that car is going. Or they're so focused on that prey that they're not paying attention to the car that's coming up. So, unfortunately, they get hit by cars a lot. That's actually one of the most common injuries we see in birds of prey, but especially our hawk friends here. Usually, wing injuries. Obviously, they've got these big wings, so that's easy to get hit. And another thing, birds have hollow bones. So they're not actually super strong. If they get hit, not only will they break, but they might fracture. And fractured bones on birds are very hard to take care of because they splinter. Clean breaks, we can heal that. Fracture, depends on how bad it is, unfortunately. The hollow bones, though, are pretty good. Look at this bird. Good sized bird, right? She's about 3.5 pounds. You'd think she'd be a lot bigger. But those hollow bones and all these feathers, lots and lots of feathers, make her look a lot heavier than she actually is. Now, 3.5 pounds is actually pretty heavy for a red tail. They average somewhere around between 1.5 and 3.5. But, because she is with me, she doesn't fly. She can't fly because of her injury. So she doesn't get that exercise as much, but also, winter just ended, and I like to keep my birds fat and happy. It makes, keeps them warmer, just safer. So she's about 3.5 pounds right at the moment. In terms of size, though, she's about average for a female. The females are actually larger than the males, up to 30% larger. That's why we think she's a female, is because of her size. We've seen several males that we have one at the rehabilitation, well, more of an education center now. Joyce Perry, the director of Whispering Willow Wild Care, has retired from the rehab business, which is one of the reasons I have picked up the slack. But she has an education bird, Odin. He's a red tail. He's a male. He probably comes up to about Zen's shoulder. So there's a big size difference, but there are females that are bigger than her. maybe about an inch, maybe a little less. So obviously there's that overlap in size, but because of her size, we're pretty sure she's a female. You can't actually tell by their plumage. There aren't different colors, there's not different patterns. It's really just the size. Actually, and it's not just a red-tailed hawk thing either. That's pretty standard in almost all birds of prey. The reason for that is that the females are the ones guarding the nest more so. The males are the ones that go hunt. There are some variations, but for the most part, the female's the one staying at the nest, and chicks being helpless. Need a big, strong mama to chase everybody away. Got these talons here, very dangerous. That's why I'm wearing the glove. That, and if she slips, she might want to stab me. So, a little impatient today. There you go. Yeah, so the talons have a great crushing force. The great horned owl actually has a much stronger foot, but she can do 200 around pounds per square inch, which has no problem going through a prey animal. They also have this really neat feature, at least I think it's neat. People have asked me, well, where do hawks sleep? You know? Do they sleep in nests? Do they sleep in cavities? They don't. What hawks do, they just find a nice branch that they want to sleep on, and they sleep there. They don't build a nest. They don't find cubbies. They turn around, they bury their head in their nice soft feathers, and they sleep. Well then, how don't they fall, right? I mean, they're unconscious. They're not thinking about gripping. That's the neat feature. They have this ligament in their foot that automatically grips that. They actually have to take a conscious effort to let go. So when they're sleeping, it automatically grabs a hold of that, and they don't have to worry about falling. Another neat thing about redtails is their eyesight. It's amazing. 1,200 feet away, give or take, this hawk can see you blinking. 200 feet up in the air, flying around, can still see that mouse. Great eyesight. Another thing people ask me is, how fast are they? You see them up, they're flying, but they seem like they're pretty mellow birds, flying around in circles. You know, they're not known for their speed. Falcons are, and that's one of the main differences between a falcon and a hawk. There are others, but that's one of the big ones. A redtail can go up to maybe about 40 miles an hour, maybe, on a flight. On a dive, they can go up to maybe about 120, which is crazy, right? They don't like speed dive so much though. Not as much as like the peregrine falcon. Now falcons are known for their diving. Peregrine falcons can do what, 240 on a dive? And the reason for that is the shape of the wings. Now I'm not going to do it because Zen is distracted by the little birds flying around, but hawks have more feathers, like noticeable feathers, like a hand sticking out on their wings. Falcons have smoother, pointier wings. Like obviously they've got feathers, right? But they're not individual feathers when they're flying. They kind of form a point, and that gives them more of a streamlined effect. That's how they get their extra speed. Zen does not have that. She's got those wide fingers, but she's also got a very wide wings. There's two types of hawks. They're grouped together. You've got your butos, which Zen is one of, and your accipiters. Now, your butos are known for having wide, rounded wings and a wide, broad tail, but a little bit on the shorter side, whereas the accipiter is the other way around. Their wings are a little shorter, but they've got a longer, narrower tail. The reason for that, because again, these redtails are more field birds, open space birds. Some of the accipiters you're more likely to find in more wooded areas, not all of them, but in general. Having the shorter wings and the longer tail allows them to maneuver faster within the space of the trees without hitting themselves. If she were to do that, she'd have to go slower. She'd be more likely to hit her wings if she went by with any speed, and thus she'd be less likely to catch any prey animals that she found. Now is the time of year where we're more likely to get some babies in. It's April right now, so the baby hawks, you're gonna see them. You might see them on the ground, hopping around. Just because you see a baby on the ground does not mean that it fell out of the nest. Now, it could have. You need to keep an eye on it, make sure that it's safe, but chances are the parents are around. If a baby bird falls out of the nest, a lot of times the parents will still feed it, still take care of it while it's there. Birds leave the nest before they can fly. They start moving around more, they start climbing more, they start trying to fly without necessarily being able to fly. So you will see them around as they start getting a little bigger. So in the next couple of months, if you see a baby, don't automatically think that it needs help. Maybe it does, keep an eye on it, but maybe it doesn't. And we really don't want to take the babies away from the parents. You know, us rehabilitators, we try our best, but we are not a mama bird. It's always better to leave them with the parents, if at all possible. But there are exceptions to that. If the baby's injured or it's in an unsafe spot, you know, there's predators around, you know the parents aren't coming back. Maybe you unfortunately saw a dead redtail or what other species it is, depending on what animal you find in the road or something, so you know they're not coming back. Then they're going to need help. Give us a call and we'll do our best. Great thing about babies is usually they're not injured. Most of the ones I have helped rehabilitate had just fallen out of the nest or gotten kicked out of the nest or something. So we were able to rehab them and release them, and it was great. Seeing them fly out for the first time, find a new home, freedom. You're right, that's what we always want, is for them to be released. And that's, like I said, one of the great things about babies. I've only seen one baby personally that wasn't able to be released. That was a crow. He makes a great education bird, but he had scratched his eye and hurt his shoulder when he fell, so the shoulder injury made it hard for him to fly. But otherwise, so that's a little bit about redtails. There's definitely more, but you know, I want you guys to come to some of our events if you're local, right? And if you're not local to us, I'm sure there are rehabilitators in your area. So, thanks everybody. I'm Xendara from Whispering Willow Wild Care. With Xendara, the red-tailed hawk. I did not name her, Joyce Perry did. And hopefully you guys enjoyed our little education video, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again.